All right, 589 people walked into a Texas courthouse for jury duty. And when the lawyers finished cutting the 12, 9 white jurors remained, 3 of Asian and Indian descent, and black jurors in a county that is 10.8% black for a black defendant in a case the whole country was watching. That jury deliberated less than 3 hours. The sentence, 35 years. Let's get into it. April 2nd, 2025, Frisco, Texas. A rain delay at a high school track meet. Karmelo Anthony, who is 17, is under Memorial's High team tent. The defense says he was invited in by a friend. His school didn't bring a tent. State witnesses say when Austin Metcalf, also 17, told him to leave, he refused and cursed the tent out. What's not disputed is Anthony reached into his bag and said 5 words: touch me and see what happens. One witness said he repeated it 5 times and that Austin stayed calm, said he wasn't going to touch him. Then Metcalf shoved or grabbed him to move him. Anthony pulled a knife and stabbed him once in the chest. Austin Metcalf died that day. He was 17, and his family is living every parent's worst nightmare. Nothing in this video disrespects that, and don't you do it in my comments either. So when police arrived, Anthony said he put his hands on me. I told him not to. Hold those words. The whole case came down to them. The defense heard a warning, an outnumbered kid saying, "Leave me alone," and Metcalf had no legal right to put his hands on him. Not his tent, public setting, a split second of fear, self defense. The state heard a dare. Hand already in the bag, knife already waiting, 5 words, 5 times, baiting the touch. Their words, do not let them turn a threat into a warning. Here's what almost nobody explains. Texas law has a doctrine called provocation. And if the jury believes you provoked the confrontation intending to use force, you lose self-defense, even if the other person touched you first. The defense fought to keep provocation out of the jury instructions. Judge John Roach Jr. ruled with the state. It went in. That ruling is the mechanism this case died on. So, quick word, because elected officials are out here holding 2 fingers up, saying that the knife was too small to be deadly. Stop it. Austin died from one wound. One. You can kill somebody with a pencil, keys. It was never about size. It's where it lands. And young people, hear me. There is no fight with no stakes. The moment hands get put on somebody, death is on the table. Every time. Mutual combat always carries the potential for a funeral. So when you feel yourself about to see red, disengage. Walk. Your pride recovers, I promise. 2 families will get anything for one of those boys that have walked away from a tent. Now, the jury was 589 in the pool. Collin County, about 49% white, 18% Asian, 16.1% Hispanic, and 10.8% black. 125,000 black residents. And 3 days later, you got 12 jurors, 8 of them women, 4 men, 9 of them are white, 3 of Asian and Indian descent. Black jurors, 0. Congressman Jasmine Crockett got asked about it. Let's take a listen and see what she said. I know y'all be like, Jasmine. Let's see what she say though. Let's see what she gave. Let's get this.
Karmelo Anthony was sentenced to 35 years. I want to get your reaction to the trial and the verdict.
My heart breaks for so many reasons. And so I was just speaking to a student that is shadowing me who wants to be a public defender. And so it takes me back to what actually made me decide to get into this legislative work in the first place, because I know that our systems are broken. And what we saw with that verdict is the evidence of a broken system. Now, listen, from everything that I understand, which I wasn't at the trial.
You heard that? She said, this is evidence of a broken system. Okay. I got solutions for y'all. Okay. So just hang tight with me. Okay. But I got solutions for you. Everybody ain't giving you this. I'm giving y'all solutions. So if you from Collin County, especially, you need to listen up. All right.
Because obviously I got a day job, but it's my understanding that Karmelo ended up stabbing, puncturing. I don't know what this tool was that they talk about, knife, or some refer to it as a tool.
Okay. Y'all hear that, all right? She doesn't know what tool it was. I'm telling you, you can hurt somebody with a pen, okay? It doesn't matter the size of the tool. And just to be clear, okay? Just to be clear, it was a knife. Let's just be real with it, okay? It was a knife, okay? You can hurt somebody with a fork, with a spoon, okay? Ask the prisoners, okay? So I just want to make sure we get the record straight, okay? But I still got solutions for y'all. Now just listen to it though, especially if you're young people, all right?
Tool. He ended up hitting Austin one time, and it was about where he hit him. One time, 2 inches. This
That's
wasn't
right.
someone who
You're
said,
right.
hey, let me stab you 5, 6, 7 times. And so
just
when you're
once.
looking at the punishment
That's all
range,
it
there's a
takes.
reason in Texas that it goes from 5 to 99 or life, because you are looking at how intentional, like how bad was this? 35 years for a kid who had decided to go under a tent that was not his team's tent as it was raining. And
I know all of us can understand what happened, okay? He did injure this boy in front of, his teammates, okay? So, of course, the witnesses are going to be skewed towards him. I get all that, right? But, I got solutions for y'all. So just listen to her. All right. We got more coming, okay?
simply didn't want to be put out in the rain by some random kid that he didn't know who was larger than him. Listen, a lot of people don't know what it is to live as a Black person in this country,
I
but
agree.
just like you can give the benefit of the doubt to so many police officers when they go out and they shoot some Black unarmed person, even though they are trained, the fact that there was little to no mercy seen or humanity seen when this Black boy said that I was scared, or the fact that honestly anybody else who did something with such a small object, all I know is that it wasn't considered unlawful carrying of a weapon because the blade was not long enough, that they wouldn't even say, well, maybe this was more so something that looked like manslaughter.
Well, some people might say, why are you even bringing a knife like that?
Yeah, we're not gonna go any further with that, right? But precision time, guys. I want you to some people think, this is an all white jury, right? It's false. Okay. And they're getting fact checked as we speak. Get the facts right or sit down. But her question, would the outcome be the same if the races were reversed? Let's see what she think about that, okay?
To attract me.
Yeah, people may say that, but walk a day in my shoes and then respond. Because we as Black folks say, why is it that people need long armed guns when we are going out and having a First Amendment protest? But people say that's their right. They are allowed to do that. And again, it wasn't against the law for him to have it. It may have been prohibited by school rules, which he wasn't at his school at the time, but it definitely was not against the law.
So you think race played a role in the verdict?
Oh my God. I know Collin County. So absolutely. Collin County is right north of Dallas County. And I can tell you that I have had cases that I felt like played out differently because of the counties that they were in.
Wow, I
And
believe that.
unfortunately, that was not the county for a black boy.
Right.
So if this were a white boy in his exact same position, you don't think he'd get a 35-year
I
sentence?
would guarantee you it wouldn't have happened. I don't even know if he would have been convicted, because if a white boy would have said that they were afraid of a black boy, something tells me that that jury that didn't have any black people on it, they would have believed him in his fear.
Absolutely. Of course they would have believed them.
What happened?
Of course they would have believed them. 100%. Okay. So we're gonna go.
Stay on this video and I explain how Joe Biden, President Joe Biden, is suing.
All right. You know, would the outcome be the same if the races were reversed? And that stands on accurate ground. I definitely agree with her on that, because out of 589 people, how did the one group missing from every single seat turn out to be the defendants group? Okay. So, yeah, I definitely agree with her. But the answer is in the court record, right? Every qualified black juror was dismissed by the prosecution in the final rounds. 3 black women remained. The state struck all 3. The defense objected a Batson challenge, the Supreme Court's mechanism for race-based strikes. They argued those 3 were similarly situated to a white female juror, so the state kept. All right. The state's explanation is educators too close to a school case. But they also argued the case was race neutral and didn't need a diverse panel, even though the witnesses brought were definitely too close to a school case because these were his friends. I mean, it doesn't make any sense. So Judge Roach overruled the objection and his jury seated. And this is in one courtroom. A UC Berkeley study of hundreds of trials found prosecutors struck black jurors in nearly 75% of cases. White jurors, 0.4%, under 1%. 75 versus 0.4. That's a university study. That's the pattern. All right. Just remember, this took 9 days of trial, 20 plus witnesses, surveillance, the medical examiner, warning or dare, fear or provocation, a teenager's whole life on the answer. The jury came back in less than 3 hours. Guilty. As sentencing, they rejected sudden passion, which could have lowered the number and gave 35 years. Not the max, the longest number short of life. He was 17 then. He'll be in his 50 when it runs out, and it might not be over. A former U.S. attorney said the Batson challenge is grounds for appeal. And when it moves, I'll break it down right here. So now, before I close, I know some of y'all watched all that and went straight to the closet looking for the shiesty. I know that. All right. Man, just remember, you got to hold off on this, right? But check it. You don't need it. We don't need it. We got work to do. And the shiesty ain't on the equipment list. So put it up. Real talk now. Don't take this anger to nobody's doorstep. Both of these families have already been swatted. Austin's father had to leave his job. Karmelo's stepfather took leave. That ain't justice. That's terrorizing 2 grieving households and handing the other side the only headline that erases everything I just showed you. You pull up on the juror, you didn't get justice for Karmelo. You got a cellmate for him. This pattern repeats until the laws change. And laws change through 3 doors. One is lawyers. The appeal is the path to getting him out. Support the legal fight. The second one is legislators. All right. Texas eliminated Arizona, my bad. Arizona eliminated jury strikes in 2022. Washington, California tightened theirs. Texas could copy it tomorrow. And voters, sit with this last part. I'm saying names because these are public officials and public elections. So let's take a look at Greg Willis. Is this Greg Willis? Yeah, it is Greg Willis, right? Let me see. Let me share that. Share that. Clip that. This is Greg Willis, right? The district attorney whose office struck those jurors. Greg Willis, Collin County DA since 2011, on the ballot this November, and the opposing primary was canceled, which meant that nobody filed to run against him. Not one person. Let's go to the next one. John Roach Jr. Mr. Roach, the judge who denied the Batson challenge and allowed the provocation instruction. John Roach Jr., he's the 296th District Court. His term ends December 31st, 2026. And the last time his seat came up, the election was canceled. He ran unopposed. How about that? So hear me clearly. And I am not saying that these men did anything illegal at all. Every ruling was within the law. That's the entire point. The law worked exactly as written. So who writes it? Who enforces it? Who rules on it? That's the whole game. And in Collin County, that game gets forfeited every cycle because the ballot lines come up. Guess what? Empty. Guess what? We will be right here talking about the next case unless that changes. The record, the appeal, the ballot, nothing else works. Everything else makes it worse. So there's a second case you need to see next to this one. Different state. A grown man, a 14-year-old shot in the back, and a jury that said not guilty. Now that comparison is next. So subscribe so you don't miss it. And remember, we don't forget. Peace.